Yeehaw! The Warriors are back in the winner's circle, and doesn't it feel so good? The boys are back. Talk about it on Warriors Anonymous. Let's go.
This is Warriors Anonymous.
That intro was so much better second time round. Welcome along to the newest podcast episode. Sorry we've been away for, I think, a couple of weeks. It's been, we took bye week as an invitation to take our own bye, I guess. Jared Cronin alongside Isaac Sauce and Moneta Sauce this evening, or this morning, or whenever the hell you listen to this podcast. Daniel Wharakura is, where is he? He's off to netball tonight, he told us. So so he is out for this particular edition. But boys, I know it's going to be quite a good one, as we've got some good stuff to cover, and plenty of smiles, I would imagine, to share as well. So let's get into it, shall we? First of all, we're going to start us off with a big curly question, straight from the mind of Moneta Sauce. So we're going to go with a hard or nah, because all of a sudden things have taken a very sudden turn here. At the start of the season, you developed a new man crush for Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. And now, what's happened is Adam Pompey's come into the left centre position and been playing pretty well. And all of a sudden, you're wondering if Pompey should keep his spot when your man crush returns, bro. So hard or nah?
Yeah, you're kind of making me seem like a bit of a slut. Before that, I was Jackson Ford, and now RTS, and now I move on. But it's a difficult one, because I think at the beginning, RTS was looking pretty good, first 3 games and stuff like that. But as I think opposition started to find out how we would play, he got a bit exposed. And for all those Pompey haters, I actually think since he's been back, we've looked a bit more solid in terms of defence. So, a bit more. I think probably the structural plays. I think the structural plays are looking a lot better, I think. My personal opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I think Pompey should stay centre. Maybe RTS could go to win.
So you're hard for that notion, obviously.
I think so. I don't think I think RTS has to be in the squad, but that means at the expense of Montoya. So,
okay. Isaac, hard or nah, bro?
I would tend to agree with Manera, to be honest. Pompey hasn't done anything wrong at all. And RTS, he had a great, a good start to the season, but he was shuffled all around the park as well. And he never really bedded into that centre role where Pompey's got experience, and he hasn't put a foot wrong. It'll be a bit tough to punish him by dropping him out of the team altogether. Obviously, you want your most talented players in the park, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's got talent in spades, but he's also a professional as well, and he's a team man. So whatever's best for the team, he'll do.
Yep.
And I reckon that is play on the wing. Also, another thing with Pompey as well, his carries out of danger, I find a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger than RTS's. RTS needs a bit of space to get moving, whereas Pompey can sort of, get the big rig moving and put a little bit of a step on and sort of bend the line a bit more than RTS can. And I found that, the back 5 are really humming, and he's been a big part of it, Pompey. So, tough call. I mean, you can't go wrong either way, but I'd go Pompey at the moment, which is, far cry from the years gone by,
Yeah, he's certainly done well, and there's no doubting that. I'm going to go absolutely nah. I'm going to stick with Roger when he comes back. I think he'll be fine. I know, I can see what you mean about Pompey with those carries. He's got a real sort of subtlety about him. He just sort of like, just slides this way, slides that way, a little bit of, fate footwork and that, and it just kind of, he's sneaky. He's a sneaky player, Adam Pompey, but I'm sneakily going to just chuck Roger straight back in when he comes back.
You can't go wrong either way, right? Either way, it's an embarrassment of riches.
It just shows that we've got depth. Like whoever comes in, you can be confident they're going to take the mantle.
Yeah, and it's a problem that we've also got in the halves as well. We've won 3 games in a row, and 3 of those games have been with Te Maire Martin playing halfback. So let's go to you, back to you, Isaac, for this one, bro. What do you see happening when Sean Johnson, who is estimated to return this coming week against the Storm, what do you imagine is going to happen around that 6 and 7 spot?
It'll revert to par. So Sean Johnson will go 7, Tamara Martin will go 6, but I envision probably a slight difference in the way they play, not maybe in our own half, shooting the ball up the field, getting it onto the right-hand side where Sean Johnson will hoof it. Maybe it might go to Tamara Martin for a bit of a mix-up, but I think you'll see a lot more of a difference in play when it comes to the red zone, inside that 10-20 metre, where they're going to just have options now. Because Tamara has shown that he can play on both sides of the park, which is awesome. Sean Johnson can do that too. He hasn't really been doing that for the past few years, and now he won't need to because Tamara can sort of command that space on the left. What I'd like to see, and you don't really see it much these days, is just those two combining together on either side of the park, because they're both shifty and they both got great hands, great vision. Why not kick it back to like old school 1990s type rugby where you had both halves combining on one side of the field instead of this generic you play right, I play left type scenario. But I don't think we'll see that, but we'll have more options on either side of the park in the red zone.
I found it really interesting what Tamari Martin said at the end of the game, just about how he was enjoying the halfback aspect because of the system that's set up where the halfback has basically their hands on the ball a lot more than the 6 because they're stationed to the left and then Chance will be stationed to the right. So they kind of split it like that, and then Sean will just obviously get the ball all the time. Interesting to note as well what Webster had said after the game, that things have been evolving in terms of as the season's gone on at this position and others. So he's going to, it'll be interesting to see how he maybe evolves things even when Sean comes back. In my fever dream on Saturday night, I was starting to wonder if Sean should return at a 6 position and keep Tamari where he is, and just have Sean just take less of the load and be just be able to do what he wants, stationed on that left side, or however they're going to pull those sort of levers between them. But it's another good problem for us to have. One of the good problems, Moneta, is to do with another one of your, you mentioned your former man crush, that is Jackson Ford. And he, interestingly enough, was moved from an edge position a little bit more middle into the propping stocks. What did you make of his performance with 178 running meters and the most minutes on the field out of the forwards?
What can you say? Outstanding. Like at first when I saw that happen, I was honestly going, and that playing prop, but it was a genius move from Webster, and they were talking about it briefly in the press conference, and that he provides that mobility up front, kind of like that, and he made 32 tackles also. He was just, for a prop, playing 62 minutes flat, non-stop, and then making 100 metres and making 32 tackles. He's got, Mendes is engineered to stop, and so he's got so much fitness to kind of back up his, more kind of mobile way of playing in the forwards. But, genius move. That's all I can say. Webster. Well done.
It's almost kind of flipped the script a little bit, hasn't it? Because he's gone from being I would suggest a maybe less than dynamic edge forward, and that simple change of putting him closer into the propping area, all of a sudden he becomes a more dynamic front rower.
They just look quicker. In the first 10 minutes, they look quick. They all the way Jackson Ford was running onto it, AFB, outstanding game, and they just look quick. Intensity picked up, and so they haven't dropped from the last 2 games.
Yeah, nice.
And it solves a massive problem as well, I think, Jackson Ford at prop. Because the front row rotation, even at the start of the season, seemed a little bit light.
Yep.
But now when you put him up front, it seems a lot more balanced and healthier, because you can play Murata or you've got Murata, Jazz, Barnett, they can play in the middle, and they can play at second row. They can interchange, no problem at all. and it takes advantage of Jackson Ford's biggest talent, his biggest positive, which is his motor, right? And that was from last year. They were saying he just gets better as the game goes on, and that's sort of exactly what he does at prop. He doesn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah, he definitely seemed to, just sort of age beautifully as that game. He sort of eased into it, didn't really make too much of an impact. But as time went by, you could just see more of that leg drive coming into play. And you're right on that. Man, I was checking out the stats on that bench rotation and just how things had been done. You know, Fanor Blake 55 minutes, Egan 56, Jacko was at 62, Newcore 47, Barnett 58, Tohu Harris came off the bench, got 49, Walker 46, Jazz only had 28, bit light maybe, Capewell 55 and Lussick 24. I mean,
it's all pretty good numbers.
That's a very good rotation in terms of not burning through guys, especially guys who are a bit older as well. Like, you know, Tohu, all of a sudden, a bit of a new lease of life after, a few weeks off and coming off the bench. But really, really interesting to see just the impact. I think that that may be a masterstroke from Webby, finding a home for Jacko there. And it's kind of a bit of a switch around from what we had at the start of the year, right? Like Mitch Barnett was more of a mid, or projected to be a mid, and now he's a bit more on the edge. So Moneta, he's gone into camp. You know, he went into the camp with the Blues last week. Didn't play, which was kind of a great result for us, because it just meant that he was firing and ready to go. But what sort of benefits do you think he would have picked up from at least just going into camp?
I think he would have just got a whole confidence. Just would have boosted his confidence, and the intensity that he would have been training during the Origin camp, and would have brought that over back into the game against the Cowboys. I mean, I bet he was raring to go, and he was able to not let it loose against Queensland, but on the Cowboys, and you could tell for that one try he scored from Tamani Martin. I was like, ooh. Again, they just look quick. They look like, they had fast starts and everything. They looked, I don't know, it just looked pacey, the intensity. It was great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes for a couple of really just mean-looking edge forwards that we've got with Barnett and Newcore. That's an intimidating sort of pair. Holy moly! Now, Isaac, over the past few weeks, we've seen what this team has been able to overcome. Really, there was a patch there where we had 4 losses on the trot. Guys were getting injured left, right, and centre. We were starting to field our, for lack of a better term, reserve grade teams. But we've come through this last period, with flying colours. Does that just show, what Webby can do as a coach?
Yeah, 100%. It just shows how good he is as a coach. He's able to evolve this team, arguably in the face of adversity, with all these injuries that have occurred over that sort of 1 month period. And then, out of that 1 month period, he managed to find a massive silver lining in the way that he's sort of changed the way that the team's played. I don't think anyone could have picked this. I mean, no one would have picked Jackson Ford in the middle and shifting Barnett out to the edge. And a whole lot of other things as well. CNK at 6, for one thing. Crazy. People never would have thought of it. And he played the house down in that role. So if I was any other NRL team, I would be throwing the checkbook at Webby to get him into your club. So, it's not going to happen. Exactly. Can you blame them? No.
Nah, not at all. No,
you can't blame them at all. But to work with what he's got, you can imagine if another coach was in his position, they would have folded, but not Webby.
Yep, that's right. And it's something that we've been sort of, I don't know, we've waited a few seasons for a team with real sort of starch to stand up, which is great. Now, Moneta, how big of an impact do you think was the bye week for us in terms of where it came in terms of the injuries and that sort of stuff? How much did that benefit us against the Cowboys?
I mean, I think you saw it. It was even during the game. I mean, from what I've heard about the Cowboys, they haven't had a bye yet, and they look tired. You could tell, and they had. I mean, not to take away from those, but they had Origin players who played and they backed it up again, and they just looked tired. But again, I don't think that's any excuse for the Cowboys. But you saw the benefits of having a bye. Everyone looked refreshed, and again, everyone just looked a bit more had a bit more of a motor. Just those little kinks and injuries have now kind of, faded away a bit more, and now they can play with a bit more confidence and so forth, and have less apprehension and so forth. So it was a huge, and I think it was coming. It needed to come, but also at the same time, with those injuries, it exposed the depth that we had, and where we needed to get back to in terms of style and play.
No, for sure. On the flip side of that, I know that again, Andrew Johns on the Footy Show was just saying that the Warriors just grabbed hold of the Cowboys and just strangled the hell out of them and just did not let them in the game at all, which is a fair call. But Isaac, I'll put it to you, bro. Were we that good, or were the Cowboys that bad?
I think we were that good. They did cough up a bit of pill that we scored off, but the whole point is that you capitalise on those opportunities, which we did. They did score a try against the run of play. Tommy Deere didn't set that up beautifully. He's just got a massive motor. He could play every day of the week if he wanted to, Tommy Deere didn't. But, I didn't have much of a worry. Even when they scored that try, I was like, oh, shit, that sucks. It would have been nice to have the donut. But we kind of got right back into the game, stuck to the game plan, and just, put the foot down on their throat and never let it off, which is what we love to see. We love to see the Warriors just being clinical and just destroying teams, because we know they've got it in them. And I think in the same fixture last year against the Cowboys, didn't we stomp all over them as well at home?
We did, yeah. Not
Not
quite to the same extent as what we did in this game, but
it was
we did.
Same sort of fashion though, pretty clinical, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah. And that was a real turning point as well. Last year when we did it, it was all of a sudden we were like, "Ooh, this team might actually be pretty good."
Yeah,
but,
kind of the same way with this game, right? It was a kind of a statement game, especially heading into the Melbourne one, where we, put them on notice, right?
Yeah, for sure. Now, we've also mentioned under the name AFB. Big game from him, 200 odd running meters, and just generally looking, more like himself. Got a try on a bloody settler tackle. just there was nothing on it. He just ran up and was like, just supposed to set things up, and then boom, he just was like, all right, I'll score, sweet. But Moneta, how important do you think it was for him to, come in and bounce back after a little bit of a rest a couple of weeks back?
From what I've heard, I think he really wanted to make up for his transgressions, that during the last 2 weeks from, the game against, can't remember, the Panthers. And I think he really did make up for it. I mean, and then there was a lot of hype about him leaving and stuff like that. That can all be put to bed now, and so forth. And it was great to see. He played awesome, over 200 meters again. Scored that wonderful try where he, like you said, it just looked like he walked over and just got up and does his traditional celebration of like. It was great to see, and you could tell the boys were just so happy for him. Like you see, even when he scored the try, everyone was just crowding around him and just like so happy for him. And so, he's still part of the team, and everyone still wants him part of the team, and that's great to see.
Yeah. Saw Tamari Martin giving him an aggressive sort of hug around the neck as well. When he let go, it was like it was good to see the boys getting around him, and especially for him coming back to a tone, I guess. Just a great player, I think. One thing that's was probably not as positively viewed in the game was the little sin binning issue in the second half. Where old referee Ziggy can't actually say his name properly. The referee, he got a little bit card happy, and binned Chanel Harris-Tavita, and also Chad Townsend, just a couple of former teammates that having a little bit of chat with one another. But Isaac, bro, was that a sin bin?
That was ridiculous.
What a fucking joke, eh? Honestly, what a fucking joke. I mean. It's a hard game that they play. It's fucking league. You're throwing yourselves into brick walls of humans. And can you imagine if you saw anything like that happen back in the 90s, early 2000s? It'll be a joke. Just to see it now, it's Yeah, I don't know what that ref was thinking. He'll probably look back at him and go, yeah, I made a mistake. I won't do that again. But just to see it all unfold is like, do you not know what game you're reffing? Like, that sort of shit, that sort of niggle is going to happen. And it's just harmless. It's just, it's gamesmanship. It's just part of the game. So, I saw why he did it. I didn't agree with it. And, yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen again, because it's just part of the game.
Yeah, it's funny, that little sort of the actual act of Chanel, throwing the ball, like it just sort of just gently went boop, on Townsend's head, and they both got up and just walked away.
Yeah, and then the ref called them back.
Yeah,
and they were like, "What the hell? What happened?"
Yeah. You could tell, he was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, commentators were, I actually myself, I do recall, I got sort of one of that kind of really angry sort of disbelieving kind of states, and my voice just went like way up, like what the fuck, like I was like, just went like out of control. But anyways, it didn't matter in the end. It was just a little bit of a, I guess, an extra sort of footnote on what we sort of deal with. But I was actually sent a message on our TikTok from Je ne sais quoi, with the old Monty Beetham versus the Bulldogs clip from like I think 2004 or something. Might have been the game we went to in Wellington, and one of the doggies got up, gave him a bit of stick, and then Monty just absolutely laid into him. And a few minutes went by, they broke everyone up and that, and then at the end of all of that, ref was just like, "Yep, penalty Bulldogs."
Yeah.
I'm like, good lord, what would happen in this day and age? They'd probably have about 3 guys sent off, but Monty definitely would have been sent.
Season ender.
That's right. Anyways, now Monitor, there's a bunch of guys gained a lot of confidence. I'll put it to you that that the young man Rocco Berry seems to be, just he started off, started the season really well, no doubt about that, but he seems to be gaining a lot of confidence now with what he's doing.
Yeah, he looked absolutely solid. I mean, his defense, I can't remember that one tackle.
Valentine Holmes running on the angle.
I thought, okay, Holmes has got this, and he made that brilliant tackle around the legs, and he looked, even the way he was running again, he looked like he had intensity again, and just the way he was tackling, and it did kind of again like prove that he was playing with a niggling injury with his hand, and it would affect a lot of how he would play, with his fending, how he's tackling, and so forth. And he still got it strapped up, but he looked good. He looked way better. His defense, I think, is one of his strong attributes. And but yeah, and his running. And there was one moment he was like skittling, running around and like ducking and deep, weaving around, and he scored those 2 tries. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, good to see him start to showcase a bit of the sort of freakish skills that he has. Like, he's definitely, you can tell he on that that try that Te gave to him, which I'm also gonna just put it out there that Te Martin is developing a bit of a talent for, almost like akin to a young Daniel Wharakura in the schoolyard, and that he's able to throw the forward passes. And they're coming up as tries, and no one's questioning it. And I'm sort of, I kind of went back on a couple of them. That one to Rocco, I'm looking at him like, I think that's a little bit.
I actually thought there was forward too. I was like,
yeah, and then the one out to Dallin as well. I know the bounce made it look bad, but in terms of looking at where he passed it, I was like,
that's one forward anyway.
The one out to Dallin looked suspicious. The one to Rocco looked, line ball. Either way, you wouldn't be, but the one to Dallin, I was like, ooh.
That was forward, and it bounced forward.
Yeah.
But how it was going to try, I don't fucking know.
If I was a Cowboys fan, I'll be fuming.
Oh, yeah. You used to see that sort of shit go against us.
We need to get Daniel Wharakura's thoughts on this on Teams Day when he's back, because he's the man to tell us about how he managed to. It's almost like a mental thing.
The dark arts of the forward pass try.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the dark arts. Yeah. But, on that point about Rocco as well, what was that game where we got stomped and he missed a pretty simple one-on-one tackle? I can't remember who stepped him. Was it Brian Kelly? Got on the outside of him, just skinned him?
Yep.
yeah, it seems like since then he's made it a mission to never let that happen again, eh? Because the way he can make those one-on-one tackles just by skittling their legs, he just doesn't miss, eh?
And also to that, I mean, like Tahu talked about watching, you know, basically like we said, like the reserve grade players play, and the way they play with the spirit and everything like that, you know, like, and what it did, you know, it makes them want to play with the same kind of intensity and spirit. So, yeah, and you could tell they wanted to continue that trend that the other players had brought in. So, yeah, no, I think not only did they come up, there's brought in some kind of new culture. I don't know these, depth players. So it's great to see. Yeah,
yeah, man. Yeah. You've just given me a bit of inspo as well for a nickname for Tohu Harris, based on how he was able to bounce back on the weekend. I'll break that on Tuesday, and you boys, I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Going back to the clock, all right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's have a look at the play around the ruck, a little bit closer to the play of the ball. The play from Wade, aka Wayne Egan. Isaac, bro, like what was your thoughts on how Wade was able to come back in and just look like he'd never even left?
He's just so good, eh? I mean, come on. If he's not such a concussion sort of issue, not liability, but, concern, and he doesn't get injured, he'd be in the Origin team, New South Wales, no problem. Just the problems he creates around the ruck and gets people second guessing, even just the little intricacies of how he can get a player to run onto the ball the way he does, like CNK running one off the ruck in behind, the A gap. He just holds the ball a little bit and just draws someone in for half a second. He's too good, and then he knows the right times to take a snipe of a run as well. He's not, again, we've said this in seasons gone by, he's not the quickest dummy half around, but for him to get 10 or 15 metres the way he does, it's all deception, and it's just all mastery of the way he handles the ruck.
Yeah, like Cameron Smith. Just the way he wasn't quick, but was able to play a smart game.
Mind control.
Yeah. But in terms of intelligence at that position, there's no one better. It's got to be the smartest hooker in the game.
Yeah, and he also he doesn't even have to be fast himself because he makes the other guys around him fast. Because he freezes the defence, and then once he finds a runner who's moving, all of a sudden they're going quicker than the defenders. So, fair point about old Wado. Great to see him back. One of the favourites here on Warriors Anonymous. Moneta, put it to you, bro. The big question, really, to come from this Cowboys game, have we found our groove for the 2024 season?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was worried about the win against the Panthers game, and part of me thinking, oh, could that be a one-off? Leading into because the Dolphins weren't an easy team. They're in the top four, and they beat them. And then just going on to this, I was really hoping. And Cowboys are no slouch too. They've won the last of their 3 games, and they beat the Roosters last week. And they absolutely whipped them into shape. And so, I think they found their groove. And more than now, I think they've found their way of play, how they're going to start, they've kept it simple now, playing really fast up the middle, and then fourth or fifth, really taking it out with set plays. So, definitely yes. And please, knock on wood, let it continue, especially against the Storm. They've found their time to get their form back, especially against the Storm, because that's not going to be an easy game, and they have to be on form.
Oh man, I've kind of circled this game against the Storm pretty much ever since Xavier Coates went flying through the air to score on us in that last game. I was
steal
like,
the game.
We can take confidence though from that loss though. And now how we've built up to this particular game.
Yep.
Like you said, this is clutch. I reckon. This will really show what we're made of. I think, and it will be exciting to watch just to see what we can do.
That's right. Another sellout coming up, Isaac, bro. How big is this game against the Storm for not just for the team but for the fans, like, you know, and in the context of our season.
The fans are doing their job. They're turning up, and they're going to get in behind the team and support them. But they need to. I almost think the supporters need to go to another level because we need to beat this Melbourne team. It's finally time for us to, you know, turn the tables on them and beat them. You know, so the crowd has got to go. You know, go that next level, grow an extra leg, whatever you want to call it. And they've just got to make life as difficult as possible for that Storm team. The team itself will follow the crowd, I reckon. And I think it's probably a good opportunity. I think it's a good opportunity, no matter how good this Melbourne team is. I mean, Melbourne do Melbourne things, but we really put them to the sword, and we just destroy them. I've got that feeling in me. I have this feeling where I know Melbourne are a tough team, but after everything that we've just gone through in the past 2 months, especially the last 3 wins that we've had, I think we are primed to actually make a really big statement, and this is the game. I have that feeling. I don't know why, but I reckon it's going to happen.
Sausagedamus, please, that'd be real.
Oh,
That's
please.
my Sausagedamus. I reckon we put Melbourne to the Storm, and they are shell-shocked and don't know how to respond.
Ooh.
Calling it.
I'm getting goosebumps already just thinking about it. Oh man,
This is clutch.
far out. I know that I know the Warrior Holic was claiming the result against the Cowboys. He came out and said, "I think we're going to smash them," and we did. So now that you're going in with the Sausagedamus, I'm like, oh boys, bring that shit on. It's gonna be an awesome game against the Storm. Be an awesome occasion as well, I think, for rugby league in general. So that's where we'll wrap up this podcast episode for Warriors Anonymous, and we'll be back I think tomorrow with the teams they run through to find out who's playing where, and is Sean back, and is he back at 7 or you know, whatever's going to unfold with that, because it starts to becomes a bit of an event of its own, doesn't it? So this is Jared Cronin on behalf of Isaac Sauce, Moni the Sauce, and Daniel Wharakura, and we'll catch you soon right here on Warriors Anonymous. Peace.
La cucaracha ya no puede caminar.